You're listening to Main Character Manifesto, where we talk mindset, self-identity, and stepping into your power. I am your host, Ceci, your go-to life coach for real talk and major glow-ups. This is your space to get inspired, get honest, and get moving toward the life you know you're meant to live. Are you ready? Let's get into it.
Who's that girl? That's me. I'm on fire. I'm a hot girl. I'm a hot girl. I get anything I want. This is my world. I make big moves in my big heels. Since the day that I was born, I've been a big deal.
Let's do this. Hello, besties, and welcome back to the pod. This episode is a little bit special because this week is my birthday week. And instead of just blowing out candles and eating cake, I wanted to celebrate with you, my community, in a different way. I look at birthdays as a special invitation for a time of reflection and really looking at the journey that we've been on and celebrating it. I love celebrating my birthday. Everybody around me knows that. I love birthdays. I love coming together and just really having those people that I love around me. And what a perfect time to stop and reflect on all of the beautiful things that we do have in our life. I know I talk a lot about gratitude in this podcast because honestly, it's one of the core pillars, the foundations that everybody should have in their own lives to learn to be grateful for where they are, not just focus on where they're going and waiting to be happy and grateful once they're there. I mean, how many times have we heard enjoy to love the journey? It's not just about the destination. It's about the person that you're becoming. So today we celebrate exactly where we are today. Think about all of the little wins that you've had already. It doesn't have to be your birthday to do this. This is the start of the last quarter of the year. So essentially, this is a perfect time to stop and reflect before we go into the last quarter of 2025. Like, how exciting that we've made it this far. There's a lot of people that have been through a lot, maybe with their family or their personal health or whatever they're going through. We are here today, and that's a beautiful thing to celebrate. So grab your coffee, your favorite drink, or some champagne if you're feeling a little extra fancy. That is my drink of choice, to be honest. But let's get ready to toast how far we've come and all of the beautiful things ahead. So today, imagine we're all having a birthday toast together. What is the one thing that you would raise your glass and toast to, something that you would like to celebrate in your own life? When I think about my own life, I feel like the biggest thing that I want to celebrate myself for is putting myself in the most uncomfortable situations this past year. The way I have just broken out of my shell and put myself in situations where I normally would be so uncomfortable has been something that I am absolutely proud of myself for, because I could not really imagine doing this like 2 to 3 years ago, even if I think back a year ago and think of all the things that I've done from then until now. I am absolutely proud. Even though sometimes I do feel like I'm still very far behind, I think it's the overachiever in me where I feel like, okay, I'm putting all this work in. Where's the result? I think that's a very normal reaction for us to have. Most people expect instant results, and it's just a learning lesson for all of us to learn to slow down, learn to enjoy the journey and the person that you're becoming. I think I tend to be very hard on myself. So if this is something that you do as well, let's work on that together and really lowering those expectations, not in a way where you're not getting the things that you want to do done, but in the way that you are being kinder and more gentle with your self-talk. If something happens where you want to do something and for whatever reason you didn't do it, then just cheer yourself on, just like how you would cheer on a friend or a little 5-year-old kid. The way that I talk to myself now is I actually look at a picture of my 8-year-old self and I just think about how I would talk to her, how I would want somebody to talk to her. Or when I think about my nieces, like I would never be rude and tell them that, they're dumb, they're not intelligent, they're lazy. I would never talk to them that way. So if we take a moment and step back and acknowledge how we're talking to ourselves in these moments where we're feeling like we let ourselves down, that is going to be a huge shift. Because if you're like me and you're in a time of transformation, of expansion, of really stepping out of your comfort zone, you're going to have so many moments where you're talking to yourself and you're cheering yourself on. And it's so important that you're aware of how you're talking to yourself, and that as soon as you catch yourself being negative and saying something really mean to yourself, that you're able to shift it right away. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, that we don't talk in a negative way to ourselves, but the sooner that we catch ourselves and the sooner that we're able to shift that, it's going to be such a difference in you moving forward and recovering from that little setback. I think a few episodes ago, I talked about segment intending, and if you haven't listened to that episode, I highly suggest it. I will link it below because it's such a great episode. We have multiple opportunities to shift our mindset throughout the day. Okay, you overslept, you didn't go to the gym today. Cool. You have another opportunity tomorrow. Maybe you have an opportunity, you have a 30-minute break out for lunch. You can go for a walk. There's always things that you can choose throughout the day to shift your mindset, to shift your day, to shift it to a more positive way. So, with that said, I would love to hear maybe in the comments, or let's continue the conversation. You can always DM me if you would like to share what you would celebrate if this was your birthday toast. I would love to hear it and continue the conversation. So don't be shy. If you're a little too shy to leave it in the comments, send me a DM on Instagram. I would love to chat with you. And if you just want to make this like a solo exercise, do a little journal prompt. You can even do a voice note to yourself. You can write it in your notes app on your phone. But take a moment to be present and acknowledge something that you want to celebrate yourself for. The amount of women that I talk to on a daily basis, it's so hard for them to step back and say, I'm really proud of this thing that I did. Most of the time, they're so hard on themselves that they don't even acknowledge their own wins, even if it was a little one. Even if it's like, yeah, I made it a point to go to sleep earlier and now I get, 7 to 8 hours of sleep a day, even though it means that I have to do all this other work because I have kids, because I have work, because of all of these other things. That is a major win. Those are little habits that you are putting in your toolbox that are going to set you up for success. So, please remember to take a moment and acknowledge something that you would celebrate, because that's instantly going to boost your energy, your motivation, your confidence, and it's going to help you achieve something else that you've been wanting to achieve. I like to look at birthdays as natural checkpoints in our lives where it can remind us where we've been, how far we've come, and what we've built. It also gives us a chance to reflect on what we don't want in our lives. Maybe this is a time to be like, no, none of that. No, thank you. That doesn't serve me anymore. So we are removing. So it's not so much about all of the wins that you've had in the year. Sometimes it's about the awakening of what you want to remove. And that in itself, that type of awareness is a win. Another thing I want to remind you is that you don't have to wait for these milestone moments to bring gratitude into your life. You don't have to wait for a mid-year or the beginning of the last quarter of the year or a New Year's resolution to start thinking about gratitude. It has been proven that people that do gratitude list or that practice a daily gratitude ritual are overall happier and are able to achieve more of the things in their life that they set out to achieve. So that takes literally 1 to 5 minutes a day. You can literally set a timer every single day and you can just call it my gratitude timer. And I would do it at least for a minute. Try 5. If you want to do 10, that would be amazing. But even if you set a 1-minute timer to go off every single day at a time that's convenient for you, when it goes off, take a moment, close your eyes, and you can just reflect. You don't have to write it down. If you write it down, it's more powerful. But if you just close your eyes and you think of one thing that you're grateful for at that moment, something that just comes to your mind, something that's natural. It could be that your car turned on that day, right? A lot of people have cars in the US, and a lot of people all over the world don't even have a car, right? So things that we take for granted, somebody else could be wishing and praying and saving all of their money to maybe one day be able to own a car. And here we are complaining that there's no parking around the area that we live in, where there's no pollution, there's no crime. I mean, honestly, there's so many things that we could be grateful for every single day, and we forget about how lucky we are. So bringing that awareness every single day, even if it's for 1 minute a day, think about how much time in a day you actually have to take 1 minute. So let's be intentional. Let that be your one homework that you take away from this birthday episode, to set your gratitude timer to a certain time every single day, and then really bring that positive gratitude into your life. Another thing is that reflection creates perspective. Sometimes we are going 1,000 miles a second and we don't even realize that we are living what we once prayed for. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I don't even know how many years ago it was. I should go and look up this video because I had the thought of starting a podcast years ago, years before I even started my life coaching journey. I knew that I had a bigger purpose. I knew that I wanted to help people. I knew that I had something to say, and I didn't know how. I knew that I was going to start a podcast. I had no idea how, but the first thing I did was buy this little microphone that we have here. I mean, it's not little, it's actually, a whole situation. But I bought this microphone and I actually didn't even use it for over a year. It was just kind of in my closet until I figured out what to do. And sometimes it's that action, knowing that you have all of the things and that you're just working towards that is gonna propel you forward into getting the goals and the things that you want and bring everything into your life. And my point being is that when I first got this microphone, I was so excited. I set it up and then I put the camera up and I was just using my iPhone. I was kind of like testing everything out. I had been researching how to do a podcast and I hooked everything up. It was before I had my other camera that I'm recording with and the lights and the setup and all of this. So I set up my microphone up to my computer. I had my little space and I'm like, okay, let's practice. And I sat in front of the camera and I froze. And I said to myself, how will I ever be able to record a podcast. What do I even say? Like, I literally froze. And I didn't realize that that was just the beginning of my journey. I still had a long road to go to be able to get to where I am today. Now I have a whole system. I've connected with my purpose. I've done the work. I've worked with people. I know the message that I want to give, and I know how I want to be of service to other people. And so now it's so much easier for me to sit in front of the camera and talk about things that I'm passionate about, because I know that I'm helping other people by sharing my stories, my experiences, and also sharing tips and tricks that may help them in their own lives. It's about that connection that we have, and to be able to move in this world together in a positive, productive, and loving way. And the me back then in that video could not even imagine what the me now could do. Like, that girl in that video would be blown away to see how much I've put myself in situations where I walk into rooms and I don't know anybody, and I am able to network and pitch myself and talk to other people and be uncomfortable. Literally, this year has been for me about being uncomfortable, working through it, and doing it even if you're scared. I was at a mastermind networking event over the weekend. It was like a 3-day event. It was held by Baron Davis, a former player for the Warriors. And when I was just kind of mingling with the ladies and with everybody who attended, this one girl said to me, she said, "Wow, you're very confident. You're able to just walk up and talk to people with no fear." And I said, "No, that's actually not true. I do everything with fear. Everything that I'm doing, I just put a smile on my face, and inside I may be dying and I may be like talking to myself like, you got this, breathe, but I have fear. I just do it anyways." And that's a big difference between the people that stay stagnant in where they are and the people that are tired of staying in a place where they're not getting to where they want to be. It's like when they say things don't change unless you change, right? So you keep accepting things into your life by not changing them. So stop doing that. Start taking action. Even if you're scared, acknowledge the fear. And honestly, the amount of times, and I've said this over and over again, and I've said this over and over again here in the podcast, I will literally tell myself that I am okay, I am safe, just keep going, you got this, let's go. You take a deep breath, and then you just keep going. And that's really how you're going to get through those moments of tension and those moments of expansion where you're getting to that next level you. I think also this year I've learned to listen to my intuition more. And if I look back at the moments where my intuition was telling me to do something and I listened to it, it has had a domino effect reactions of things that have come into my life because of that. For example, I talked about how I have reached out and sent messages to people that I look up to and people that I want to be my mentors. And that has brought so much value and connections into my life. And I'm so grateful for that. You honestly miss 100% of the opportunities that you don't pursue. Or what do they say? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't make or that you don't attempt, something like that. I'm horrible at repeating quotes, but you get the gist. If you choose to stay in your comfort zone and be scared, then you're not gonna get to where you are. You actually have to leave the house to make things happen, okay? Like, let's remember to do that. but also in this time of reflection and celebration, let's look at all of the little moments that maybe you've missed. And maybe you're thinking, wow, I haven't done anything different. Everything in my life is the same. I have nothing to celebrate. I think I have nothing to celebrate. I challenge you to sit down and really, really reflect, because I bet you that there is more than one thing that you can be grateful for and that you can celebrate yourself for doing over the past year. So don't underestimate your abilities and don't undersell yourself. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. You cannot wait for other people to cheer you on, to lift you up, to take you where you want to go. That person that is going to save you is you. That person that is going to change your life is you. That person that is going to write that story of your life, the one that you've been envisioning your whole life, or that you have glimpses of from your intuition, that person is you. So, start off small. I'm telling you, do the 1-minute exercise of gratitude. And even if you start with 1 minute, you can increase to 2, 3, 4. Maybe you want to work up to 5 minutes a day. Who knows? Whatever works for you. It's about curating a lifestyle that fits your schedule, that fits your needs, and that is going to support your own vision and your goals. And so here we are. It's that time again. It's homework time. So I was going to do this for myself on my actual birthday. And you guys are listening to this on a Friday, but my birthday is actually going to be the Wednesday before this airs. So by the time that you listen to this, I will have already done my own homework, and I hope that you do it yourself. So I figured, why don't you share your own homework that you're going to do yourself and share it with them so that maybe they want to do this also. You don't have to wait for your birthday to have a birthday gratitude list, right? Why not just incorporate that now? This is what we're going to do. There's 3 parts to this. The first part is writing down 3 things that you're proud of from this last year. 3 things that you've accomplished, 3 things that you've overcome, 3 things that you've removed from your life. What are you proud of? They can be super, super small. It doesn't have to be a huge milestone change in your life, but I want it to be 3 things that you're really proud of. The next one is write down 3 things that you're grateful for right now in this very moment. Right now. Like as you're listening, you can even put pause and then just think of 3 things or write them down on your notes if you want to do like a letter later on so that you can really get deep into the letter that you write yourself. So 3 things that you're grateful for in your current life that you're living right now. Okay, this next one is super exciting to me. Write 1 thing that you're super excited about for this next coming year. Wouldn't it be fun if we had like a little retreat for like the podcast besties and then we read all of our little letters together? I would love that. I am manifesting that. I am actually working on putting together a wellness event so that we can all get together. I really want to bring people into the community to celebrate, to work on our wellness, work on our mindset, work on our business, work on our goals, work on our health. Like, how empowering. I know I've been to some events that are like this, but I want to really build that community and elevate it and make it feel like it's just one of a kind. So I feel like maybe that can be the one thing that I want to look forward to in this next coming year, or maybe 2. Maybe I'll share them 2 with you guys. And it can be more than 1. Listen, I'm probably going to write down like 5 because I really want to speak all of my blessings into the universe and I want to make them happen, because if you don't speak them out loud, then they're never going to happen. Every single time somebody asks me, what are you working on? I actually like retract and my chest gets tighter because I know that the power of my words are so strong. Every single time that I say I'm going to do something, then I do it. So it's actually kind of scary to me when somebody asks me like, what are you doing? At this event that I went to this past weekend, I did like a little interview for this wellness magazine. They were doing cute little reels. And so they did an interview and they're like, okay, what do you want to announce? What are you working on? And I got that feeling where I'm like, ugh. And I said, I'm working on a wellness retreat because I knew that as soon as I said it, it was going to happen. And then that is going to spark momentum and then it's going to get the ball rolling. And then that means like, okay, now you have to make it happen. So there's actually multiple events that I have in my vision board that I'm working on. So I'm going to speak those into existence. What are you working on? What are you working on? Maybe having more work-life balance, maybe changing your hours at work, maybe setting those boundaries where you actually log off at 5 p.m. and you don't answer emails. That is a beautiful big win that you can speak into existence. Maybe getting more sleep, maybe getting to the gym 2 to 3 times a week. Start with small incremental changes that are going to build long-lasting habits. I am telling you, these crazy drastic changes will never work long-term because it's not sustainable. So if you start with taking little baby steps and adding things that are bite-sized chunks, that has been proven to actually become a sustainable habit that you can turn into a lifestyle. And as always, if you want support, I would love to be here for you. I do one-on-one coaching, and honestly, the most successful people in the world have coaches. They need people to help them through these tough times. I have coaches. I literally had 2 coaching sessions this morning. I had a coaching session yesterday with a close friend. We were working together. I'm working with somebody else where we're like working on marketing. Hey, Michelle. And so we are really working with each other. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you are working with a specific coach at any certain time, but look for that support in somebody. Look for a partner, look for a friend, look for somebody that you're a like-minded individual where you can bounce ideas off of and help each other through, because sometimes what you don't see, somebody else will catch, and then you're going to be like, you're right, thank you. That is so helpful. Put yourself in the room with people that you can feel like you can grow from. That's why I go to these networking events, because I feel like a small fish in a big pond, and I love that. It's scary. It is so scary. But you know what? I'm going to learn from these people because I'm going to be like, how did you get there? Okay, that's amazing. What can I learn from that? What advice do you have for me? These are my struggles. How did you get through that? I mean, that is so powerful. And you can do that in any area of your life. If you're a new mommy, you can get together with other mommies that have kids that are older and you can ask them, how did you get through that stage? What are the things that worked for you? Think about it. We can get help from so many people around us, and we are so slow to ask for help. So be kind to yourself, be your biggest cheerleader, ask for help, and have gratitude every single day. That is what I want to take away from this birthday edition. I feel like I almost got really teary-eyed because I think I'm really so grateful for all of the opportunities that I have had, and I have such supportive parents that literally watch all of my episodes and and they're amazing, even if they don't understand sometimes like all the work that I'm putting in. They see the hard work and they cheer me on and they're like, you go. So I'm so grateful for my family and my friends and everybody who even just reaches out and says, oh, I love that podcast episode. That really resonated with me, because it helps me to keep going and to understand and to know that like this purpose of being of service to others is not necessarily easy, because you're showing up even if you feel like only 10 people are watching. If it impacts even one person, that is such a big blessing to me. So thank you. Thank you for being here and for listening and supporting. And I am here cheering you on. I can't wait to see all of your guys' manifestations come to life. And I can't wait to one day host you guys at my own wellness retreat. And remember, every day is a chance to celebrate yourself. Don't wait for the cake and the candles to honor yourself and how far you've come. And with that, we've come to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to Main Character Manifesto. If you like this episode and you feel like a friend will benefit from it, please share it. You can like, subscribe. It would mean the world to me if you rate, review. And thank you for showing up. And remember, your story isn't waiting to be written. It's happening right now. Own it, live it, love it. Keep choosing growth, keep choosing you, and I'll see you in the next episode, besties.